Here's the deck I was playing. I call it Animill because the focus of the deck is the anima summon, and the strategy for the deck is to try to mill your opponent. For those unfamiliar with the term mill, it means making your opponent take extra cards from their deck so that they run out faster than you do, and then you win by deck out rather than dealing them 7 points of damage. Anima removes a forward from the game, and then your opponent draws a card. And if you use backups to pay the cost, then you also draw a card. So if Yuna backup is on the field, she makes all water summons cost one less, so Anima only costs two, and that makes it a lot easier to use your backups to pay this cost. It also gives you more flexibility to use Anima reactively on your opponent's turn because it will only cost you one discard from hand if your backups are already all dull. Most of the time you'll be wanting to use backups to pay for anima so that you can get the draw as well. But if your deck count is not as much in your favour as you need it to be, then you can discard to pay the cost instead, and then only your opponent will draw, and that'll tip the balance back in your favour. We've also got Zidane LB to help us win the deck out race. He makes our opponent put the top two cards into their break zone. And we've got one other mill option, which is Beldat. If you warp her, then each time a counter is removed, your opponent will put the top two cards of their deck into the break zone. So she can be a good finisher when your opponent's only got about 10 or less cards in their deck. The elements of the deck are mainly earth and water, and the list is very similar to a Chaos Art build. We've got most of the same cards, other than the Chaos and Art themselves, of course. We've got three Una, because she's so important to make Anima cheaper, and then three Rydia to search her. We've also got two other summoner backup targets as well. I'm using the full three Shantotto because most games we're not going to be playing many forwards, and it's highly likely our opponent will have a board of at least two forwards that will make Shantotto a decent play to clear them. After that, the other backup slots are quite flexible. I'm using three Tyro, but he's not a necessity. It's nice that he can produce any element, which helps if you're looking to cast a small number of wing cards, but Shantotto can also help with that, of course. I like Loporrit as a cheap backup option to help to get to the five backups. It's a standard unit as well, so that means we can run the LB Warrior of Light as an option if we have a bad start where we're not seeing our backups. I also like having backup options that can break themselves to clear space for a Shantotto, and that's why I like the Ash as well. You can return her to hand in your attack phase, and when you play her to field, she reactivates her forward. So if you've managed to make your Unai stick, you can loop the Ash to keep reactivating Unai to get a double recursion of a summon. The forwards are things that can recur summons, so there's not a lot else to say about those. And then the summon package itself includes a toolbox of things to help deal with whatever situation you might be facing. The one that you probably don't see in most decks is the 4CP Kukulin. I wanted another summon that outright kills something other than anima. Sometimes you might not see an anima for quite a few turns, or the first one might go to damage. So it's helpful to have another piece of spot removal. And don't forget that Una makes your water summons cost 1 CP less. So Kukulin is 3 CP, kill anything, which isn't awful. I admit it's not brilliant, but it's seemed like the next best choice out of the options. I did consider the 3 CP Earth Titan, but that requires you to pay with only Earth CP, and I found that that's a bit too restrictive. Onto the games themselves. My opponent's on Refia, and they're going first. My first five cards include a Karaha Baruha, which is okay, I suppose, but it's a bit of a gamble as to what I'm going to hit because I don't really have a follow-up afterwards. So I mulligan, assuming that I could have something better. And I draw into an Ico and a Tyro, so that's way better. Ico can be turn one and Tyro turn two, unless I draw something better like Iridia. They've started with a bots but no special, so they've clearly had a rough start. I play the Ico, like I say, so discard this Leviathan summon. I don't think it's going to be too relevant in this game, certainly not early on, and pass. So I've already got the Tyro lined up next turn, but and I've drawn a second one actually, so let's see if I draw Iridia, I would do that instead. they're still complaining that they've drawn terribly. That's all they ever seem to do. So they just attack me. Oh, it's Iridia, ironically. Would have liked to have drawn that, but never mind. They're still complaining that their hand's terrible and they're saying they're thinking of having to discard the hand size. And so I say, well, can't you just do a Leo or a Luna Freya? Apparently, this deck doesn't have Luna Freya in. It's Hara's deck from his World Championship win, and it doesn't have Luna Freya. So he does a Leo and passes. And back to me. I've got the Tyro, as I say, so I can pitch one Tyro at least to pay for it. But I actually decide, you know what? I can still do Tyro in future. They've had such a terrible start that let's just kill this Bart's before they draw a special, and it'll take out a little Leo as well. Otherwise, I don't want to take two more damage, so that'll just hold them back a turn, and then I can do my Tyro next turn. It's gone back to them, and they finally found the backup they want. So they found Sarah FFL and searched. It's come back to me, but I've not drawn another Earth card, so I had to pitch one Tyro for Earth to play the Hecatonchire last turn. And you can see I've got a hand of six cards, but only one Earth, which is highly unlikely. So I can't actually play the Tyro after all. So that's why I'm looking at the LB, deciding what should I do instead. For a moment, I think about the Warrior of Light, but I'd have to throw away the Tyro for that, which would be daft. So I play a Leo and hope to hit something that I can actually cast, and it's a Porum. So I had six cards, so I feel like I may as well just play this Porum rather than discard for hand size. So I'm a bit annoyed because I just needed one Earth card and then I would have been all set. But they've had a terrible start as well. They then rub it in my face by playing their own Tyro, and they search for Refia. Back to me, and I finally draw another Earth card. It's Shantotto, which is disappointing, but it's early days, so I'm not too fussed about discarding him. Sorry, her to play Tyro. I've got three of them in the deck anyway. Now I'm colour fixed at least, and I've grabbed Une because I know at some point I'm going to want to Hecatonchire their backups to stop them getting to four, and they've already got two there that are Hecatonchireable. That's a word. And then the follow up will be to try and cast that again if possible, or Une is another way to slow them down. Basically, I don't want them to get to the four colours, and it's how can I disrupt that? So that's why I've grabbed the Une, and also she discards for the two elements. So I'm feeling in quite a healthy position at the minute. They've gone for the forward Lena, which is surprising, and they've searched for the backup Lunith. So they're about to discard fire to play Lunith. So they're all when they do that, they'll already have three of their four colours. So now I'm thinking, right, I want to try to break one of these backups soon, either this turn or next turn, because presumably next turn they're going to go to the four colours. I've got an Ash, so I could play Ash. I'm debating, do I go for this Une now or not? That's what I'm wondering. And then I decide, yes, it is time. Because again, because they've had such a slow start, it feels like there's a strong chance this Une is going to stick. It's going to set them back even more. And then hopefully she can start recurring these summons and just push home the advantage. I've also got the Ash back up in hand, so if Unai does stick, Ash, when she enters, activates a forward, so you can get a double retrieval from Unai. So I've just returned the Luna to hand and left the Lena on field because I don't want them to play a Lena backup. And then it's back to them. And obviously, I'm not attacking because theirs is an EX heavy deck. So there's no point risking giving them extra cards. This game's going to be won by milling them, like most games are. So no need to attack. They had a Lena to block anyway, actually. So they played Refia and Faris. So Faris is going to do three lots of pings. So that's going to take out my Unai. But I think in response, I can overpay to play the anima. So then there's one less Warrior of Light on field, so Unai will live. So that's what I did. So it's annoying because I had to pay four and they get to draw a card, but I'm hoping that they're not going to be able to finish off Unai, and then I can recover that advantage from the next turn onwards. And it seems to have worked because look how long they're taking. But I should have remembered, of course, they can just do LB Zap to finish her off. But it did cost them a lot of cards to do that as well. I've only got one in hand. It's the Ash. I've drawn another Anima and another Une. So they've got a board of three forwards, which and Faris on swing will take out anything. Well, both of mine actually, because they're so small. So I decided to just play the Ash because when Porum dies, at least I can get back a summon. They're only on the two backups. So I'm going to go to say 4 damage at worst, but it's quite normal for this deck to go to, 4, 5, even 6 damage. So I still don't feel too threatened. Obviously, I'm heavily reliant on drawing the answers I need. I've only got two cards, but a Shantotto should do the trick. I've got no, I don't. I was going to say I've got LB Shantotto, but I don't because I played the Leo. So they've attacked, but not with Faris, and I chose to block with Horum. And then, of course, that triggers Faris anyway, so they take out um, the Leo, and then they've got two more attackers. I'm shaking my head because there's three backups rather in my damage, and the unit that I want to make my anima cheaper, and my other water summon. So I've drawn into a Hecatoncheir, so there you go, that's cleared them all. So we've reset. I'm on three backups, they're on two. So I'm feeling quite healthy again. They cast Q-Sith and have a think about what they want. So I'm assuming they want a backup, but they probably don't have one in the break zone actually, or they would have played it by now. So I'm not sure what it is they're actually looking for. I assume they just did the Kusith because there was nothing else in hand that seemed worthwhile. Oh, okay. So they did. They must have pitched the Luneth when they played maybe the Faris. So they've Kusith back their Luneth, and now they can go back to three backups. I've drawn the third anime. And I've finally seen Una as well, so obviously I'm going to slam down Una. Now my animas cost one less and the other water summons, but anima's the main one. I've got the Una locked as well, so if they go to four backups, which they've just done, that's what I'm going to want to do. Get one of those backups off the field so it delays that four colour wall another turn. So it was Cryo they played. She searched bots. They could play bots and do specials, but they've already got their backups. I suppose Lena's missing, isn't she? So they could do that. Um, and they choose to play this light bots for one, so I just have to remind myself what it does. So what do I need to be wary of? Not much, to be honest. So I'm thinking, right, I want to potentially anima this boss. The only reason that it isn't a snap decision is I've already seen two, I believe, so that would be my last anime. So just simply because it's the last one, I'm a bit reluctant to potentially waste it. So I'm tempted to walk Garnet as well. I could also do a Cloud LB because obviously I've got Tyro who can tap for any element. So I'm trying to work out what do I actually want to do. So I decide I will use Anima after all. Draw a card. And now I can do Unai. I didn't want to play so the whole thing was I didn't want to play Unai because then Bartz could kill it in response. So I needed to get it out of the way first. So there were two ways, LB Cloud or Anima. I thought Anima was better. And now we can slam the Unai again, bounce that Luneth, the one that gives the things haste, and also stop them having the four colours and then pass. So fingers crossed this Unai can live, and then we can start recurring animus. But something tells me that's not going to happen. You can see I've actually got all three garnets in hand as well. So wow, they really hate Unai. So they paid 7 to Shantotto to kill just an Unai. So okay in inverted commas with that. But let's play one of these three garnets, get back Anima, and then while I've got the opportunity so that they don't misdragon me, let's play Lulu and get back another. So now I'm stocked up with two Animas again and five cards. So everything's looking rosy. They do have their five colours, but I'm not so bothered because I'm only on 3 damage. So there you go. They played Warrior of Light. Kind of works in my favour because they draw a card from their deck, and sure, they're going to attack and potentially deal a point of damage. I'm now thinking, well, I've got another Garnet in hand, so do I just block and play Garnet next turn? Or do I take a damage and hope it's an EX? No, I'd rather just block and play Garnet again. I've got two Animas. The Garnet could be a third, a third one, or recur one of the ones I cast. Guess it depends on what I draw. I've got my own Shantotto, that's great. So if they start to go wide, that's coming down. So I'm not going to play that, whatever it's called, summoner back up again because that would lock me out. Although Ash can return to hand in the attack phase. So now I'm starting to think about the Mill War, and I could go for LB Zidane, just trying to speed things along. They've got a Luneth backup, so I need to be wary that if they do play a Warrior of Light, Luneth can haste it, so they can chip more damage than you might think. So I'm wondering, do I actually play one of these 3 cost backups, Loporrit or Astrologian? Because as I said, the Ash can return to hand. But in the end, I decide I'll go for this Zidane. They've milled 2 and they are actually the same element, which is water, so that means I get to draw a card. I've got 2 Chantottos now. So my hand is too large. I do need to do something. So now I'm going to play, yep, my backup. So I can put an EX on top of the deck, which was the Tyro, add a card to hand, and then discard. And then just to be more efficient with CP, I'll play this Garnet and get back. Well, I'm wondering, is it an anima or do I get back something a bit more heavy hitting? Could get the Hecaton. I think I don't need it because I've got the Shantoso, so I decided to get the cancel Lev. So kind of keeping my options open basically. They've cast Kusith again. Yeah, the bane of my life. They know I hate Zidane, and they seem to love it for some reason. So Kusith back Zidane and then cast him. So this is annoying. So I'm thinking, right, on the stack, I'm going to anima, so at least I spare one of my animas and save myself a point of damage. So I'll pay for it like that. It's going to remove him, but the trigger still happens. So then I reveal. But of course, I forget that that EX I put on top of my deck is now not there. So that's why I'm laughing. So that's a shame. And then the Kusith again. Are they mental? Okay, this time they grab Refia, a more sensible option. And then they play the Refia, right? I see. So now they've got 3 um, backups. So I point out, well, if you just tap that, you'll reactivate 4 things and draw, which is kind of sneaky of me, I suppose, because that means they're drawing a card, aren't they? But it is in their favor as well. They can then KO my what do you call it, Garnet, and then they've replayed this Zidane, who I hate, from the card that they drew, and then removed that Unai. Very annoying. But they've forgotten that Ash can return to hand, so they're because they make that comment when I play it in a moment. So I'm going to return Ash to hand, free up a space, and then Shantoto away these mofos. There we go. Return Ash, go to in combat, main phase 2, phase 7, Shantoto, and we reset again. And then what else? Do I want to do anything else? So yeah, I think why not? Let's Hecaton share one of their backups. So I can't do the Luneth, unfortunately. Would be nice too, right? I'm tempted by Tyro, but I'd rather go for one that's a Warrior of Light because it it would reactivate from Refia. So one less thing for Refia. Their deck's already running very low, so I'm feeling quite confident that this is going to go my way, unless they can somehow spring a load of haste with Lunith. I've still got another LB Zidane I can do, so that's two more things. And I can't remember if I've seen Veldat yet or not, but if I do, that can be another way to seal the deal with the mill. Drawn two Mist Dragons. My options aren't great here because Mist Dragon doesn't really do anything. I could draw a card, but I'm hoping that it'd be something good. So I could Kusith, but what is it I want to get back? So I decide I'm going to crack this and go to retrieve a summon, and my target's the anime. And the question is, do I want to anime now? I decide I do. Make them draw a card. One, yeah. So you can see they're almost decking out, so it's not long left. I'm on 5 damage, right? So it is quite risky, but we'll just have to see. So they play Noctis. Yikes. So this is okay because I've got the Mist Dragon, haven't I? So yeah, I don't think so. Mist Dragon, uh, draw a card, and then they played Refia and a line of backup, and yeah, they can reactivate, and they should probably give the Refia haste. I can't remember if they do order right. So I think that was a misplay. They should have Luna to give her haste and attacked, I think, rather than just holding on to this Refia trigger. Because I'm 5 damage, that would have put me to 6. But never mind. They've passed, so I go for a Zidane, but they Amaterasu, but now they've gone handless. And I'm like, fine, I'll do another one then. There we go. And then yeah, they've only got one card left. So that's a 0-5 victory to me. It's very satisfying when you win a game having dealt nil damage, in my opinion. You should try it if you haven't already. The dream is 0-0, but not quite managed to do that yet. 0-1 was the best I've ever achieved. All right. Anyway, here's the deck list again. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again.